Right now, at this exact moment, there are around 25 billion chickens alive on Earth. That is more than 3 chickens for every single human being. They live on every continent except Antarctica. There are more chickens than dogs, cats, pigs, and cows combined. In fact, there are more chickens than every wild bird on the planet put together. The chicken is the most successful bird in the history of the world, and almost none of it was supposed to happen. Nobody set out to create the chicken. It began as a shy, nervous jungle bird that ran from humans on sight, and for most of its story, we did not even raise it to eat. To understand how strange this is, you have to go back around 8,000 years, into the dense forests of Southeast Asia. There lived a bird called the red junglefowl. It was small, fast, and incredibly wary. It could fly up into the trees to escape danger. It hid in thick undergrowth and bolted at the first sign of a human. If you were picking the animal most likely to one day conquer the planet, the red junglefowl would have been near the bottom of the list. It was not big. It was not calm. It was not easy to catch. And yet, this twitchy little forest bird is the ancestor of every chicken alive today. Here is the part almost no one knows. When humans first tamed the junglefowl, it was not for meat and it was not for eggs. It was for violence. The earliest chickens were kept for cockfighting. 2 males, bred for aggression, set against each other while crowds watched. To ancient people, the rooster was not dinner. It was a gladiator, and it became something even bigger than that. In many cultures, the bird turned sacred. Its crowing at dawn was treated as a link to the sun, a warning of spirits, a way to read the future. People sacrificed chickens to their gods and studied the way they pecked at grain to predict what was coming. The chicken was not food. It was spectacle, and it was religion. And that is exactly why it spread. Because the bird was tied to entertainment and to the gods, humans carried it everywhere they went. It moved along trade routes, across empires, onto ships crossing open ocean. The Romans adored it. Sailors took it to new continents. Where humans went, the bird went with them, not as a meal, but as a fighter, a symbol, and a living clock. Without ever being especially useful for food, the chicken quietly hitchhiked its way across the entire planet on the back of human culture. Slowly, over thousands of years, people did start eating them. The eggs were useful. The meat was there. But for most of human history, chicken was not the everyday meat it is today. It was occasional, a bird you ate on a special day, or when one grew too old to lay. Beef and pork dominated the table. For nearly its entire existence, the chicken remained a minor animal, a side character in the human story. If you had told someone 300 years ago that this bird would one day outnumber every other animal we raise, they would have laughed in your face. Then, in the 20th century, everything changed. During the World Wars, red meat became scarce. Beef and pork were rationed and shipped off to feed soldiers. Ordinary families needed another source of protein, and the chicken was suddenly in the right place at the right time. Demand for chicken meat exploded. For the first time in history, there was enormous pressure to produce as much of it as humanly possible, and humans answered that pressure in a way that would transform the bird forever. In 1948, in the United States, something strange began. A national competition was launched, and it was called the Chicken of Tomorrow. The goal was simple and a little unsettling. Breeders from across the country competed to create the biggest, fastest growing, meatiest chicken possible. The winning birds were studied, copied, and bred on an industrial scale. In just a few decades, humans deliberately redesigned the chicken's entire body. We did to this bird in a handful of generations what nature would never have done at all. The results are almost hard to believe. A modern meat chicken grows to full size in around 6 weeks. It is more than 4 times heavier than a chicken from the 1950s, on far less feed. Its breast is so large that many can barely walk. Some can no longer reproduce on their own at all. The shy, flighty jungle bird that once flew up into the trees has been rebuilt into something that can hardly carry its own weight. We did not just raise the chicken, we reshaped it, on purpose, into a machine for making meat, and that change is written into the bird's own body. And the scale of what we built is almost impossible to picture. At any given moment, there are around 25 billion chickens alive. Every single year, humans raise and kill somewhere close to 70 billion of them. The combined weight of all the chickens on Earth is now greater than the weight of every other bird, wild and tame, put together. A creature that began as a nervous animal hiding in a forest is now, by sheer numbers, one of the most dominant animals the planet has ever seen, and almost none of it was planned. Every step happened for some other reason: fighting, worship, war, and we only looked up at the very end to find that we had built a living empire of birds. But here is the strangest part of all. Scientists who study deep time, the people who think in millions of years, have started pointing to the chicken as a marker of our entire age. Because we kill so many, so fast, all over the world, their bones are piling up in the ground in a way no wild animals ever could. Far in the future, long after our cities have crumbled to dust, the layer of rock from our era may be defined by a single, unmistakable fossil. Not a monument, not a machine. The bone of a chicken. The animal we first bred for sport and for gods, the bird we never even meant to eat, may end up being the clearest sign that we were ever here at all. And tonight, somewhere, you will probably eat one without a second thought, never realizing you are holding a piece of the fossil that will outlast everything we ever built. The chicken was an accident, and now it rules the planet. And now you know.